Hey there, welcome to this edition of Bitcoin Brief. It is Tuesday, September 22nd. We saw a huge crash in the markets, but now they're slightly up today. Bitcoin going along with it. How's things going on with you, Tone? We've got Tone Vays, we've got Jimmy Song. I'm Christine Lee, your host for today. Tone, how's it going in your end of the world?
Good, good. Finally got the new computer working, so things should be a lot smoother going forward with these streams. At least I hope so. Man, time is actually flying. I really hope some countries start, removing all these restrictions on travel. I would love to go somewhere in October, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much more I can just sit in one place. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Who knows we see spikes in the cases now, and it's flu season coming up, so it's going to be a little spotty. How about you, Jimmy? Are things going well with you?
Well, I can tell you that the best purchase I made during this quarantine are bidets. And those things are wonderful because you don't have to use any toilet paper. Well, you have to use a little bit, but it's significantly less. So things are going pretty well for me, despite the 1984 style home lockdowns and things like that.
Good hygienic advice. Well, things in the Bitcoin world are a little bit up and volatile as usual. I'm going to start taking a look at some of the headlines we've been looking at this morning. And we've been seeing a lot of, volatility in the DeFi space, which is all the rage these days, especially over the past summer. And we saw that Binance is creating this innovation zone to let only select users trade new DeFi tokens. And basically, when you're onboarding, you have to basically agree that you will be ready to take a 50% loss and responsibility for that loss. And that's because we see from this graph that DeFi tokens are going down the toilet. We see, 87% down, at best about 19% down. Tone, this comes as no surprise to you, I imagine.
No, a lot of people that are trading this stuff are totally new to this space. And what they have to realize is that when Bitcoin sneezes, the DeFi market will catch the worst of COVID. That's what's basically going to happen. Yeah, so Bitcoin has a little bit of a bump down, and this is the end result. And just wait till there is an actual serious drop in Bitcoin, like 10, 20%, and all this stuff is going to just get exposed. And it's not coming back. Once this garbage falls 80, 90%, it's over. It's not going to recover. It's not going to go back up 900% from that point because there won't be any confidence, and there is, new scam coins on the horizon. Look, enjoy it while it lasts, get out at the top, but the majority of the people never do. And then everyone starts screaming, everyone starts suing each other, and more government gets involved. And that's why I really hate these scams.
Jimmy, what are your thoughts on this? We see that Binance is creating this innovation zone, knowing that, if you enter this market, you're going to be at risk of losing a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. DeFi is a zero-sum game, right? Every time somebody wins, somebody else is losing, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. These 87% declines are on the backs of somebody making that much money, dumping it to these people. So, in a sense, it's a gamble, right? And like Tone was saying, the magnitude of the moves in DeFi tend to reflect what is in Bitcoin, although over the long term, they tend to go down. And we've seen this in every altcoin since 2017. Many of them are battling all-time lows against Bitcoin. You look at something like BCH or BSV or LTC even. Well, LTC since at least 2017, it's definitely the low against Bitcoin and so on. So I mean, this is how altcoins go. It's probably possible to figure out which 5 coins are super hot and put your money into them and make some money. But the vast majority of the time, like there's something like 7,000 altcoins. So, you know, if you choose one of the 6,995 altcoins that's going down, you're actually on, you know, going to do very bad. And only the really top professional traders tend to make money on this stuff. So for the vast majority of people, just keeping it in Bitcoin is going to do way better than trying to figure out where the market is going and figuring out the top 5 hot stocks or hot 5 DeFi or ICO or altcoin or whatever, and try to ride that and make a little gain against Bitcoin. It's far better just to keep it in Bitcoin. Don't get greedy. That's basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, one last comment. I wouldn't even say that it's the top performing traders that do well on this. It's the total insiders that know exactly when it's going to get launched, which exchange is going to do it, who's going to be dumping when. So it's not even like the top traders in the traditional markets that can, you know, do good or at least compete very well on choosing, you know, is it going to be Tesla? Is it going to be AMD? So there's really no fundamental analysis going on here. Only the insiders can possibly profit on this stuff for more than 6 months in a row.
I didn't say it was only outside traders, Toad. It could be inside traders.
No, but I'm just saying it's only inside traders. Only inside traders.
I mean, some people are quick enough that they can be a fast follower. I mean, yeah, but you're right. It's skill might not even matter for a lot of this stuff. Though, I mean, I suspect that some traders are making money, but again, it's a zero-sum game. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Vast majority of the winners are, the game's rigged, so the vast majority of the winners are insiders. So guess what? You're not going to win.
Huh. Well, you know, in Ethereum in general, we're seeing a lot of troubles, and some startups are having to shut down because of these huge gas fees. And one example I'm seeing this morning is UniLogin. They're the founder saying on Medium they're out of gas and we're shutting down UniLogin. So I guess their vision 2 years ago was a vision for a universal login standard for Ethereum, but they made a couple of incorrect assumptions. One of them being that browsers could be counted on to store low value secrets. And they found that no, they were stuck in a fight between internet giants and local storage, cookies, and any sort of client memory had to be wiped out, most predominantly by Apple, trying to fight back actors that were trying to abuse that information. So they had to change the roadmap. They tried email logins, but even that, they had to, that would mean that they would have to host client-side encrypted users' wallets on their systems. Another incorrect assumption they made was that scalability wouldn't be a problem. And unfortunately, it was. As soon as they did their email sign-in solution, gas fees on Ethereum made the whole process unworkable. And what they found was that every time you would try to log in to a new device, it required a new chain transaction. And some days, the whole process of onboarding a new user was costing over $130. And another incorrect assumption was that Ethereum is meant for everybody. This founder saying that Ethereum has been going through a process of gentrification where big DeFi users are pricing out all other usage of the network. And so it was really not tenable for a small and lean operation like themselves. And with their goal of trying to create this one universal account. So in conclusion, because our team is small and lean, they could try to squeeze out another month, half year of product development, maybe some bridge investment, but even that is pretty scarce as they see that even in a global pandemic and recession is drying up a lot of the VC capital in early stage startups. And so what do? Now they are disbanding and joining the ranks of some company called ETHWorks. And along those lines, we see that Ethereum creator Vitalik Buterin is proposing a wallet fee to fund developers, and that's also creating a lot of conflict in the community. He proposes 1 Gwei, which is about 1 cent of about 70,000 Gwei. So it's very small, could add up to about 2 million, but I guess a lot of people in the community are just opposed to this idea in the first place. And we're seeing that gas fees are already high as it is, and where this kind of precedent would lead. So we're just seeing a lot of problems with Ethereum right now. Jimmy, you want to give me your analysis on this?
Yeah, I mean, UniLogin is basically saying we give up because gas fees are way too high. And that to me is hilarious because, well, no one really needs UniLogin or any sort of login based on Ethereum. Why would you do that? You're giving all your login data and like cross-site data, like you're basically making a tracker for them. So it was kind of a useless thing in the first place, but the fact that they're having to shut down largely because of the gas fees is hilarious. That's something that they are going to have more Ethereum projects will have to deal with. And this was something that I knew from a while back when I was making that bet with Joe Lubin, is that, you know, it's like once you get any sort of crowding, you're going to crowd out anything that has a chance of you know, being able to go out to 10,000 or 100,000 users. So in a sense, all of this is indicative of Ethereum's lack of scalability, and trying to be a world computer is ridiculous. And that's where they are. And that's what we're seeing. The other story with regard to using wallet fees to fund developers is really hilarious too, because of course Ethereum had a giant pre-mine to fund a lot of development and so on. A lot of those people are now out of the community, cashed in their Ethereum, and they're sipping a pina colada somewhere. But the fact that they're having to tax their community in order to fund development is indicative of just how centralized this is. It's you know, Vitalik is saying, hey, we need to fund developers, and we're going to have this wallet fee. Probably most of the community is just going to go along with it because Vitalik is the spokesperson for Ethereum. I mean, there might be a few complaints, but you know, they'll rage quit and go somewhere else. But for the most part, the developers aren't going to say anything because they're going to be like, hey, we need funding, blah, blah, blah. It's the people doing the actual work versus the people that got all of the money at the beginning of Ethereum. So yeah, it's kind of hilarious. And I you know, this sort of thing is going to continue to burden the Ethereum network as long as it goes.
It kind of reminds me of what's going on with the Bcash team. They're also wanting to tax Bcash users and create a infrastructure development fund because they're saying that they're running out of money to pay for their developers. I'm seeing a common theme there. How about you, Tom?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, these two stories have so much irony written all over them. So I guess I'll cover the second one first. So everyone's complaining about gas fees. So Vitalik wants to raise that gas fee so that more of your fee goes towards development. I mean, that is awesome. Everyone is yelling at him to solve the problem, and his solution to the problem is you just have to pay more, and then maybe we can hire some people. That part's hilarious. What you said, well, they'll just go somewhere else. No, they won't. I mean, we see that from the first story of the UniLogin. No, they completely have their business completely failed. So what do? They join another Ethereum company, right? Like, so no, they don't seem to get it. They don't seem to understand where they're supposed to be actually working on innovation. But then again, we're also using Abra as a punching bag in on this show, and they seem to be trying to stick to Bitcoin. They just can't figure out a business. So I searched around. I mean, I never heard of UniLogin until it came up, but I wanted to Google it. And I couldn't find an ERC20 token for UniLogin, and it's possible they didn't have one. So if they didn't have a scam coin, that was their biggest failure, because the only success in the Ethereum network on top of Ethereum, the only way you're going to succeed doing anything is if you have a scam coin. I guess there is one exception. There was Consensus, which never had its own native currency, but they also had Joe Lubin, who made $1 billion from the Ethereum ICO. And then they were just basically doing consulting, charging a shit ton of money for others to
no. Tone. Consensus is the platform from which all of these like ICOs launched. They got in like, 10% of like a whole bunch of different ICOs. So
okay, so there you go.
Definitely made a lot of money off of that.
Okay, yeah. So they didn't need their own scam coin if they were taking 10% of all the other scam coins. That's another way to get around it. So this is what's exactly what's going to happen, and this was totally expected. There's no business there. There is absolutely no business you can build on top of Ethereum other than the printing of your own money or on licensed security. That's the business. That's it. None of their ideas are any good. Now, I would love to debate all this nonsense on the merit of their ideas, but there's never a need to debate this nonsense on the merit of their ideas, because the moment they start printing a scam coin like Ethereum itself is just a money grab, and they're going to run out of money, and then they're going to try to beg the community to donate them more money. It's just all about the money. Like Zcash does it. They all do it. Every single shitcoin, and by shitcoin, I mean anything that's not Bitcoin, will devolve to getting money from the community to fund it eventually. It's all coming.
Wow. All right. Well, what I know, what kind of how do you see them getting out of this? Like they're trying to do this Ethereum 2.0. Do you see that addressing this issue? They've had this gas issue for quite a while now, Jimmy.
So I'm going back through my computer because I'm trying to so I'm going back through a lot of pictures and all the stuff that I've tweeted out over the last 5+ years. And some of those are hilarious. The Ethereum 2.0 going to proof of stake, they've been talking about this for over 5 years now. They're not any closer. They released version 0, which is their pre-alpha, whatever the hell that means. It's not even a test net. So they're nowhere close. They don't have a solution to this. They don't have people to, I can't believe Ethereum launched to begin with. I mean, that's the miracle of Ethereum is the fact that they actually launched. I can't see them. How do you stop your mining? It's going to die. It's going to die. And the more shit is on top of it, the worse it's going to be.
Jimmy, can you give a rundown of why these gas fees are so high?
Well, I mean, largely it's because of these DeFi things that are running, that have to execute on Ethereum. So there's a lot of different DeFi products. And in order to, I guess, stake your, wrap Bitcoins or Ethereum or whatever, you have to have some sort of Ethereum on-chain transaction. That's how all of these DeFi things work. So every single one of those tokens that are down 80% or whatever, they require lots of on-chain transactions on Ethereum, and that's what's clogging the network, because there's so much of there's a lot of fear of missing out right now on the Ethereum network, because you might be able to make a lot of money if you're in this DeFi thing, but in order to do that, it's not so straightforward as buying the token. It's actually like staking some of your Bitcoin or some of your Ethereum and putting it into there for somebody to borrow, and then it gets automatically executed if they default on the loan or something like that. It's a ridiculously complicated set of things, and all of that is sort of encoded into these smart contracts that no one really understands, that have lots of exploits. So essentially, that's what's taking up most of the Ethereum network at the moment.
Oh, right. There's a comment. Someone saying EOS is a better network than Ethereum. Sure. If you have a more centralized blockchain, it is better than Ethereum, because one of its problems is its decentralization is still kind of high. In EOS, for example, if the fees get too high, 21 people can get on a phone call and just lower them because there's no mining. So yes, EOS is better.
Well, I mean, even better is the Binance one. It's literally just Binance executing
Right.
everything
Binance, Binance is even better than EOS. Jimmy's right. It's just a centralized database. It's way better.
You might as well get into Ripple at that point.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
God.
Ripple, at least you can download the blockchain, kind of like Ethereum. That's really the big thing, is the ability to download everything.
Speaking of the popularity of DeFi, we've got this joke meme coin that was airdropped. And if you were lucky enough to be one of the first to get, I think they had about 25,000 worth, it's somewhere in this article, that was airdropped. It is now worth 600,000. So the meme crypto asset has blasted into new all-time highs of $1,775 after being listed on Poloniex. So this meme token was inspired by a consensus developer's satire of the yield farming bubble. And it's gained nearly 100% in 24 hours to post an all-time high of $1,775. And you see this chart here, its explosion up into the ether, shall we say. And yeah, so the project's unlikely rise began when Consensus's DeFi product lead, Jordan Lyle, created a mock advertisement for a yield farming protocol generator dubbed the Degenerator. Within hours of the post circulating across crypto Twitter, someone had created an ERC20 under the same name and listed it on Uniswap under the ticker meme. The 28,000 token supply was distributed via airdropped in batches of 250 to Telegram users and within 30 minutes of the token's creation. So now it has exploded. We have a tweet from Jordan Lyle. 11 days ago, the meme team was born just minutes after my Degenerator tweet mocked YOLO DeFi development. Now, against all odds and irony, it's a passionate community experimenting with DeFi and art. Meme is an NFT farming protocol. The LP pool is live. Jimmy, what's going on here?
I was gonna be really fast. I'm sorry, I grabbed this.
Okay, go. Tone
It
wants to.
It just reminded me of Dogecoin. I really thought that I would have to last longer in this space before all this shit starts repeating itself. But I saw this and it was like, wow, like really? Because I remember the Dogecoin parties and they were admitting that, yeah, it's money based on a meme. And not even 5 years later, 6 years later, we're watching all of it just repeat. It's like someone says something catchy and boom, someone is making a coin out of it and the idiots are pumping it up and putting money into it. It's amazing how quickly everything's repeating.
Jimmy, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty bullish indicator. So Dogecoin kicked off the bull run in late 2013. And I think the Pepe meme stuff on Counterparty in 2017 sort of kicked off, came a little bit before the 2017 bull run. This might be the thing that kicks off the next one. Like, there's no real explaining why this has any popularity whatsoever. But yeah, it's kind of fun. It's interesting. I mean, one of them looks like a frog there. I think they're like incorporating different aspects of meme sort of environment, like meme, known memes and incorporating them into the current one and so on. But yeah, I mean, none of these make sense, obviously, but they do sort of give us an idea of where people are at. It doesn't have to add any value whatsoever, but if it goes viral, if it gets in enough people's heads, that's enough to pump the price. And that's this is clearly what's happening because they managed to get it listed on Poloniex, and they pumped since then. I don't know. I mean, generally that's good for getting a lot more people into the space because that means that a lot more people are paying attention and sort of willing to be manipulated in this way. But that's where we are.
Yeah, we're seeing these cycles of booms and busts. We see, with Bitcoin, then all of a sudden all these altcoins come around and they go crazy and then they tank. Then we see the rise of ICOs. They go crazy a couple summers back, and then they went frozen, and we had a crypto winter. Now, DeFi over the summer has been all the rage, but we're also seeing similar bubbles. But it just astonishes me each time these cake coins, these sushi coins, these meme coins get created with they're no different from each other. They're basically copying and pasting the protocols and saying, you know, each one maybe saying that they're trying to be a little more decentralized in some way, creating some sort of community, but they still lack a lot of the governance. They lack a lot of the professionalism. They can be manipulated. And to me, it's just another boom bust cycle. If you want to mention anything more, Tone, to your comments. Oh, we do have a comment asking, is there anything new going on with Bitcoin? Because we do see a lot of these DeFi headlines.
We got the same comment from Rodolfo from NVK, who I was gonna get to join the show. He's like, any Bitcoin news? And I'm like, no, not really. There is some political news which we're gonna get to next about like governments being in the way. But hey, Bitcoin is the what do you call it? It's just like incredible stability. I love it.
Well, here, if you want some Bitcoin news, I have some. So, for example, Schnorr support has been merged into libsec 256k1. Taproot is on its way. I don't think, like I said in my newsletter, that I think I thought that Taproot has a chance to get in early next year. But it looks like the 21 release, which is scheduled for March or so, it's not going to get in at that time. It'll probably be in 22, which is September of next year. So that's when we can expect Taproot as a result of that.
Whoa, that's a long way out.
Yeah, it is. But that's just how it is. It needs more review and so on. There's Jameson Lopp did a review of a bunch of hardware wallets performances on multisig. A lot of hardware wallets are kind of lacking in that area, and hardware manufacturers probably need to beef up the specs on their hardware wallets, add more RAM, add more
Novak talked about it on the show because he joined a little bit late. And he was basically, Jameson decided to do like 100 UTXO multisig, which is something that like his wallet like never accounted for somebody would do, but just because like Casa can do it, because they built for that. Like who the hell does 100 signature multisig?
Well, so I mean, it might not be right now, but there are things like happening in Lightning where you can fund multiple channels with a single transaction. So that sort of thing is entirely possible, where you have 100 multi-sig inputs. So this is one of the things that's going on in the Lightning network, is that they instead of having one transaction fund one channel, you can now have one transaction fund like 100 channels, in which case you really do need like 100 inputs and 100 outputs and so on. Or you might have 100 outputs that come back on chain, and in which case you need to sign 100 multisig. So that sort of stuff is entirely possible. So that's another one. There's other stuff like let's see, the liquidity on Lightning is improving as a result of a couple of improvements, Wombo channels and multipath payments. The Blockstream satellite was reviewed by BitMEX. I mean, there's a lot of Bitcoin stuff going on. It's just not nearly as easy for people to really understand or appreciate, which is, unfortunate, but that's how it is. This is a lot easier to appreciate.
Well, veering off topic again, Jimmy, we do have a question for you. Do you think that Ethereum could find a way of eliminating those high gas fees?
I mean, I suppose they could force it to be less or something, but I mean, it's that's just the current thing right now, and as long as there's a lot of demand for transactions, fees will be high. And right now, a lot of people want to do these scammy DeFi things. That's why the fees are high.
See, there's a big difference between when Bitcoin has high fees, it's literally, you got to get your transaction in. You got to do a high fee. The problem with Ethereum is that the high fees are profitable for some. So other than miners. So this is the dynamic. This is the problem. Like Ethereum is exposing a problem that every single blockchain other than Bitcoin will have, in that the high fees of Bitcoin are there for a reason. They're there to prevent spam on the blockchain itself, because there is a 1 megabyte limit, and Lukash Jr. is already going crazy that Bitcoin's growing too fast in its overall weight of the total blockchain. So Bitcoin's high fee is there for to discourage more transactions unless you really, really need them. In Ethereum and all these other blockchains, it doesn't work that way. Like in Ethereum, for example, you're going to pay that fee because there's profit for you to be made on your scam token. So nobody cares except the 3 or 4 actual users of Ethereum, and they're irrelevant. There are no actual users of Ethereum. All you have is, traders that have very little money and they can't afford it. See, your fee doesn't matter. Your fee can be $1,000 if you're trading $1 billion worth of value. So no one really gives a shit. And this is how the little guys get completely priced out in Ethereum. I mean, it really is that simple. And they have no solution for scaling.
Mm-hmm. All right. But speaking of scams or just tokens, other tokens in general, we do see the institutions, the major governments stepping into the fray. And this headline caught my attention this morning. Chinese central bank announces that digital renminbi is ready for deployment. Wow. So the People's Bank of China has announced via its official news outlet that all preparations have been completed for the launch of its central bank digital currency. So they've been developing this since about April 2017. We've heard updates about it. January of 2017. We heard updates in April about it. They submitted 22 patent applications covering digital currency issuance, 65 concerning digital currency circulation, and 43 on applications, resulting in the formation of a complete industry chain. And now they're saying that they've been commencing internal testing of this CBDC coin in various cities, including Shenzhen, Suzhou. We also see that they are doing it at Chengdu, as well as sites for the Winter Olympics in 2022. So they are seriously ahead of the technology right now and even deploying this. We also see that in Europe, the digital euro would provide alternative to cryptos, according to ECB President Christine Lagarde. So the ECB is looking into the benefits and risks of a digital currency. Rather than as a replacement for cash, a digital euro would complement traditional money, according to Christine Lagarde in an introductory speech at the Franco-German Parliamentary Assembly on Monday. The central bank digital currency would further provide an alternative to private digital currencies for EU citizens. So we see that on one side, China is totally on the ball and is releasing and testing this CBDC coin. Europe is, talking about it, looking at the benefits. On the United States, I mean, nothing is really happening. I mean, there's talk about Libra, of all things. Tone, give me your thoughts on this government institutional involvement in digital tokens.
Sure, another story we've been covering since about 2015, but looks like they're finally getting closer. So China is close with fully digitalizing the yuan. Look, there's really only one question that needs to be asked. Will an actual new denominated currency be created, or are they going to take the easy route and simply eliminate the physical bills and leave their current currency and just say our current currency is now fully digital? Or are they actually going to create a whole new currency? If they create a whole new currency, are they going to give it a different name? Are they going to redenominate their current currency? Currencies get redenominated all the time. So those are the real questions. But no, Christina Regal, this is not going to compete with cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, because you don't have, there's no fundamental difference between this digital token that you're going to either create or simply continue by eliminating cash. There's nothing, none of the properties that people buy. People don't buy Bitcoin because it's digital. People buy Bitcoin for its property of being their own bank, having unconfiscatability, having censorship-resistant value transfer, and most importantly, or for Jimmy, it's most importantly, for me, it's unconfiscatability, is the fact that it has a finite supply and hard money. So unless these governments are going to at least attempt to give you any of those three properties, this doesn't actually compete with cryptocurrencies.
Huh. All right. Your take on it, Jimmy.
Yeah, we've been following stories like this forever. Yeah, I mean, whenever a government moves, it's at the speed of a turtle or a sloth or something like that, and I suspect that this is very similar. They're, they have something that is already digital currency-like already. If you go to China, I'm told that pretty much everyone transacts with WeChat already anyway, and that's pretty digital. I think what they're talking about is probably a little bit more in the sense that everyone maybe has like a direct account with the central bank or something like that instead of needing their own bank. And that way the government can maybe get tax revenue a lot easier and track money and be more in control. I suspect that that is the much bigger thing that the Chinese government is wanting out of this, is better financial surveillance of their citizens, because instead of relying, say, on WeChat, they can know what the balances of each person are and so on. So I think this is essentially going to be one giant central bank where everyone has an account and they can transfer money back and forth and so on. Elimination of cash. Maybe there's still banks for credit cards and so on and things like that. But the vast majority of people will just have accounts directly with the central bank in this sort of very Orwellian dystopian future.
Well, that was the real. That's a great outlook, Jimmy, of or prediction rather, not outlook. It's a very dystopian outlook, but prediction of where this could be headed. I mean, it's great that there are all these really optimistic and idealistic use cases for digital currencies, but I mean, look what happened with the internet. I mean, we thought freedom of information, it's going to be great. Everyone can get their information out there, and they have, and it has been really beneficial in so many ways. But we've also seen big companies as well as governments take all that data and manipulate populations out of it for their own purposes. And we could very well see that with digital currencies like a CBDC coin, where you have to pay your taxes with the CBDC coin. The government can track everything that you make, and you talk about that kind of financial surveillance. Well, this would make it much easier on this digital ledger that can be accessed and can be seen publicly or centrally if they control that blockchain. So yeah, it can be extremely dangerous. And if these governments so decide to execute financial surveillance in this way, I'd be pretty concerned. If you want to add anything else, Tone.
Yeah, I want to add one thing because someone asked an interesting question. So it's about stable coins. So do you think stable coins will tank if governments digitalize their currency? And the answer is No, do you guys hear me, or is my camera like frozen?
We can hear you.
We can
Okay.
hear you, but your camera is frozen, so you might want to like unplug and replug or something like that.
Oh, okay. Anyway, you guys don't need to see me anyway.
That laptop, man, Tone. Come on.
Yeah. So let me turn it. Oh, there it is. I just turned it off and on. So what does it mean for stable coins? Well, the answer is nothing, because again, what does the stable coin compete on? The stable coin doesn't compete on the fact that it's digital. A stable coin competes on the ability to send it to other people in a censorship resistant way-ish. And it's not competing on a finite supply. You can have as much of that stable coin as you want. I mean, Tether can create as much new Tether as their bank account can hold the dollars, and we can debate whether there are or aren't dollars in that bank account. But a stable coin competes on the ability to avoid AML KYC. So as long as your stable coin can continue to serve its function and getting around AML KYC, your stable coin will be just fine.
All right. Well, that touches on that subject, but we also, speaking of governments, we want to take a look at this latest BBC article. It says from the FinCen files, all you need to know about the documents leak. So leaked documents involved about 2 trillion of transactions have revealed how some of the world's biggest banks have allowed criminals to move dirty money around the world. So they show how Russian oligarchs have used banks to avoid sanctions that were supposed to stop them from getting their money into the West. In the latest string of leaks over the past 5 years, they have exposed secret deals, money laundering, and financial crime. So the FinCen files are more than 2,500 documents, most of which were files that banks sent to the US authorities between 2000 and 2017. They raised concerns about what their clients might be doing. And these documents are some of the international banking system's most closely guarded secrets. So we see various transactions, and basically it goes through why does it matter? If you're planning to profit from a criminal enterprise, one of the most important things to have in place is a way of laundering money. And it seems that fiat money has been very instrumental in being able to do that, run your criminal enterprise. The HSBC allowed fraudsters to move millions. JP Morgan allowed a company to move more than 1 billion. Even Barclays Bank in London, Vladimir Putin's closest associates used Barclays Bank in London to avoid sanctions. And the list goes on and on and on. And this goes to a very popular criticism of Bitcoin, that it's always involved in criminal money laundering. Tone, you want to take that away?
Sure. So yeah, the problem with this is that none of these banks ever really get punished for it. There was a headline that, yeah, we know that Deutsche Bank is doing all this illegal activity, but if we fine them $1 million, it can collapse the bank. This was one of the headlines from like 2011 or something, when the European Union was going through a lot of problems, and people thought that it was actually, I thought it was going to break up, but it managed to stay together. So yeah, a lot of people demonize Bitcoin for how often it's used in criminal activity, but they need to clean up their own house first. And this is the problem. And this is happening on a way bigger scale. Bitcoin is not liquid enough for some of the money laundering scandals that the traditional finance banks are doing. And if they're not going to clean that up, then they shouldn't talk about, crypto being used to evade money laundering laws. So this is just, exposes the ridiculousness of the system.
Jimmy, you want to put your 2 cents in there?
It's not a surprise that these banks are doing that. I think what Tone was referring to was something like too big to prosecute, and it's the sad reality of a lot of these places is that they really are well connected politically, and as a result, they really don't get prosecuted. They get usually some sort of slap on the wrist, but these central banks know that these giant banks are a core part of the economy or of the fiat money system that they're trying to oversee. So if you get rid of one of them, the whole thing might collapse. So they really can't afford to. So basically, if you have enough insiders or enough people that you can bribe or pay off or something like that, you can get away with pretty much anything. And the people that they tend to prosecute are low level, easy wins from a PR perspective. They're not going to go after the CEO who's embezzling $1 trillion or something there, or somebody from Saudi Arabia funding terrorist activities or something like that. They go after the guy that I don't know paid $100 for weed or something. Yeah, it's the Ross Ulbrichts of the world instead of the real criminals. So it's sad, and this hopefully will open some eyes, but I suspect that this will fly under the radar like so much other news of this type.
Right. I like that. Too big to prosecute. So yeah, we do see these low level companies getting taken out for, I don't know, drug offenses, and we see these $1 trillion, $1 billion deals going on between the institutional banks of the world. And I mean, they continue to happen, and they make any criminal activity in the Bitcoin world look like peanuts in comparison. Taking a look at the mempool, it's mempool time, and we want to see what's going on with Bitcoin transactions. We've got Jimmy Song with his analysis.
Well, it's Tuesday, and you can see that we had a big spike on Monday, and that is normal. You have a lot more activity, especially with the price action, and a lot of that settled down. It looks like we cleared 5 or 6 to 8 satoshis per byte last night, so that's probably a good benchmark to go. Although I think 5 to 6 will clear tonight as well. If you need to get in on the next few blocks or so, you're going to need to pay 20 to 30. If you're waiting, if you have a bunch of 1 sat per byte transactions, they're not going to clear probably until the weekend.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Jimmy. We want to remind everyone to pick up a book, Programming Bitcoin by Jimmy Song. Also, he's the author of the Little Bitcoin book. We want to learn how to program Bitcoin and find out why Bitcoin matters for your freedom, finances, and future. Thank you so much, Jimmy. And we also want to remind people that Unconfiscatable is happening in April of next year in Las Vegas, that you'll get to meet Tone and Jimmy in person and learn more about trading and all the things technically related to Bitcoin from Jimmy. So thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, remember, guys, these virtual conferences suck, and it's you're gonna this one's actually gonna be in person, and I don't understand why people are thinking that virtual conferences are the same as actually meeting in person. Meeting in person is just way better, and it's crazy to me that so many people seem to I don't know. Think that they're going to get just as much engagement doing some online video for 6 hours in one day or something like that. It's a very different experience when you can actually shake hands and talk to people and things like that, which Tone will
It's a premium experience these days.
It is.
Okay, we've got some price analysis with Tone.
All right.
Oh, you're frozen again, or you're stuttering. I'm not sure if there's enough memory being allocated to Zoom or whatever, or your camera, but yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah.
I know.
Oh, that's a little better. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I turned off the camera and turned it on again, but I don't know if I want to deal with that all the time. Yeah, no, thanks for that. And the virtual conferences are generally terrible. I keep getting emails to speak at people's virtual conferences, and I usually say no. No one watches. And the problem with virtual conferences is if your panel is not on time, you're stuck at home, and it just gets in the way of everything. So I've been turning down almost every single virtual conference because they're just not good.
Yeah, that's the sad reality. You need some audience and I don't know, for speakers, it kind of really sucks when you're just speaking into a camera, and you're not getting the reactions and stuff like that. I mean, why are we at that point like doing it at a conference? I can release it on my YouTube channel and get like 10 times the engagement.
Right.
So,
That's exactly what I say.
yeah. So it's like I don't understand what's in it for me. And yet they want, it's like, oh yeah, why don't you perform free labor for us, and
Yeah.
and
No,
promote it.
it's definitely not the same experience, but more and more of the world is trying to get virtual, kind of trying to get digital. It'll be at a point maybe that having an in-person experience one day is just a rare or a premium experience for people, an expensive one at that.
I don't know. I like the premium, like the experience of a in-person conference is just so much better. And Tone and I saw the difference when we were at BitBlock.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was a lot.
It was so different, and like compared to all the crappy virtual conferences that have been happening since March, all the way up to August, like it was like hands down the best conference that like everyone there had been at, like in those 6 months. So, I like, guys, if you're somebody that's like planning a virtual conference, just forget about it. Like go put those resources towards making a better in-person conference in the next year instead.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. All right, guys, let me take over screen share here. All right, let's talk about the price. So as we continue to evolve the indicator, what am I missing here? Okay, so, oh, so that's what those are. Sorry, guys, I'm like, I always get these files just as, oh, hide. I got it. I see. I see what's going on. Okay, cool. All right. So let's look at the price of Bitcoin. We had a rough Monday, and right now things seem to have stabilized, but that's also because the stock market seems to have stabilized. So we are back to being correlated. If we're looking at Bitcoin independently right now, I am in absolute no man's land on the weekly scale. And on the weekly scale, we are right in between the prior swing high and the prior swing low. I guess we're a little closer to the low than the high. But to me, this is a bit of no man's land. I need to see this go up above $11,500 to be super bullish, or I would love to buy the dip somewhere in the $9,000 range. Let's go to the daily chart. The daily chart got us back into this consolidation zone where we stayed for a while, but this time around, it's a little more dangerous because the moving average that was supporting us was significantly lower. Now it's higher. So we can, if we break that moving average, we're definitely in a bit of trouble. You are close to the lucid SARS. And right now on a daily scale, if we go any further down, if we start to go below yesterday's low, Bitcoin can drop and drop in a hurry. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart is hanging in there. It's forming a new consolidation zone. This consolidation zone is a little bit more bearish than bullish, in my view. And again, this is your main line in the sand, 10,350. If we start falling below that area, Bitcoin is in a bit of trouble. So what did I do? Yesterday, I did buy a little more GBTC. I still have plenty to load up at about the $9,000 range, somewhere around 9.1, 9.2, hoping that the premium would be low at that time. GBTC premium did drop yesterday. I was able to get in around 11% premium, or a little bit lower than that. So that's good. I was able to put back what I sold at around 12.50. So I sold out around here, and I was able to put that back in at a lower price. And this is in my retirement account. So these are long-term horizons. I still think the big run-up for Bitcoin is going to happen next year, not this year. And this year, we're going to tread water. Like I wrote in my article the first week of January, that Bitcoin was going to spend the majority of the year below 10,000 and end the year at approximately 10,000. That's pretty much been true. It's a little debatable whether Bitcoin has spent the majority of the year below 10,000. It's spent about 6 months below 10,000 and about 3 months above. So we have 3 months to go. But at worst, I'll be 50-50 on that. But if we spend 1 month below 10,000, then I'm definitely right on both counts. Okay, so gold is now stuck a little bit below that major support line. I am also a little bit bearish gold. You can see how we have other time frames right here listed on the side. This is going to be very good for the new release of the indicator. Here, this is the S&P 500 daily chart. Yesterday, I tried to show you guys to take the trade on a 10-minute scale right off this low right there. Now, that trade was profitable, but not by much, because this drop got me out of that trade. Now, this wasn't great, but the low yesterday, that 10:30 a.m. low that I was trying to catch the falling knife on, if those of you that stuck with that trade, and we never broke that low actually held. So the low in the stock market was at the point where I was trying to buy. Now, like I said, I would not have risked it. I would have been out. Where is the next time I am confident in S&P 500? I would need the break of the high. So I actually would have been confident around here, the break of prior high. And that probably, if I would have entered the trade, would have been a losing trade. But then I would have comfortable again at the break of that high again. And this would have been a great trade. You can see the MRI tops here, and that's another buying opportunity. Wasn't perfect, but consolidated for a while. And now this is looking like it wants to go a little bit higher. Where is a good place for the S&P to end its run? That would be around here. So there's not much. If we can break that line, we can certainly go higher. Now that I zoom in on this area, man, that's beautiful. Look at that gorgeous reversal candle at a 10-minute mark. This would have been right in the afternoon, right during trading hours, 10-minute scale. I didn't even see that yesterday because I didn't zoom back to Friday. I believe this is Friday. Yeah, September 18th, Friday. Look at that rebound on Friday. Would I have traded it? No, I don't. I've never traded. I've never day traded Friday after 1 p.m. That's usually when I start enjoying my weekend. But from a TA perspective, it doesn't get any better than this combination of candlestick and MRI buy opportunity. So this is the cool, neat new thing that we added right there. So you can see other time frames, though I'm not sure how we're able to display lower level time frames. I gotta ask my developer how we pulled that off because I didn't know that was possible. So this is cool. The weekly on the S&P rebounded nicely. This might be it. This might be it for the drop. If we can close this week positively and open next week in a bullish way, this drop could be over, and then it's risk on again for the S&P 500 market. All right, guys, I think I'm just going to do work the rest of the day. I don't think there'll be another video today, but tomorrow we will definitely come back with a full trading Bitcoin session. All right, that's it for me, guys. Hey, if you want to support, check out the on-demand videos. I'm getting really close to releasing the MRI. it would be under the indicator section. If you already own the current TI, you will just have access to it, but it'll take a little bit of time because it's a manual process to give everyone, I have to paste everyone's TradingView username to give you access. So you have to give me a minute there. But yeah, you'll have access to it. But check that out. And of course, you can support through the affiliate page. All right, that's it for me. I'm going to stop the screen share.
Thank you, Tone, for that analysis. Question for you. What do you think will happen in November to Bitcoin?
That's a good question. I don't think this presidential race really matters. I don't think there is that much of a difference for Bitcoin. I think if Biden wins, it helps Bitcoin a little bit, because if Biden wins, he's definitely going to tax what he considers rich. And those people will go and buy some Bitcoin to protect their assets. So I think Biden winning, the Democrats taking power, is probably a little more helpful to Bitcoin. But at the same time, the Democrats taking power could also mean harsher, I guess, I mean, they might fight Bitcoin more, which they'll fail, but they'll make life more challenging. So I don't know. I'm not voting based on what it'll do for Bitcoin. I'm kind of voting based on what I think is better for the human population around the world. So on that note, I'm pretty locked in as to who I'm voting for.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tone. All right. Thank you, Tone Vays, our Bitcoin educator and trader and host of Unconfiscatable in April. Want to check out that conference in Las Vegas. And thank you very much, Jimmy Song, our Bitcoin expert on programming. Pick up his copy of Programming Bitcoin, as well as the Little Bitcoin book. And I'm Christine Lee, a journalist and host of this Bitcoin Brief on September 22nd. Thank you so much for joining us.
Fiat Delenda S. This song is done.